Good morning, all. So, I wanted to go once again off script and wanted to talk about authenticity. Essentially, we can come up with a topic to discuss on China each and every day, and provide different commentary, see what everybody else is talking about. It's pretty clear there's a consensus on just about everything, whatever China does or whatever China doesn't do, whatever engagements geopolitically there are with China, Xi Jinping or others. It always gets framed in the same way. And I'll definitely come back and talk about the various issues around tariffs and everything else. But I thought it would be interesting right now to share with you an experience. So last night I had the opportunity to speak to a very large delegation of very senior executives in from the States. They were doing a big trip to come in, look at operations, so on and so forth. And I was there, of course, to present on the current state of China, particularly looking at the asset and wealth management space, but also to provide some context on at least my opinion of what was really going on here locally in China, and provide a counterbalance, if you will, to the various media headlines. But it wasn't just me. I was there with another individual to present, an individual from one of the largest consulting companies in the world. We were going to tag team. He was going to come in and present his points of view, and I was going to do the same. And right away, this counterpart of mine got up and went with the China is big, China is growing. Essentially a presentation that could have been done a year ago, 5 years ago, 10 years ago, with just different numbers. But the exhibits and the graphics would have been exactly the same. And for those of you who might know me, I was sitting in the back of the room, and I was doing everything within my power to sort of, keep a poker face. I mean, there was no value in this. I mean, this is an individual that was coming in essentially explaining to the group what they already knew. If they didn't know all of these things, they wouldn't be here, they wouldn't be investing, they wouldn't be allocating their time. And this is very common. And I got up and I did what I always do. I was direct. I provided what I think are real insights into what is going on locally, provided genuine advice on how this organization could look at their local business, what they could do to improve, to more effectively compete, so on and so forth. Very impassioned, as, again, I tend to be. But after the fact, I had some conversations on the side with some of the delegates that were there. They were hugely appreciative. They continued to say things like, we don't get to hear these types of points of view. It's really great to be able to get an honest, their words, not mine, honest take on the current business environment. They appreciated the advice that I had provided them, even though it ran extremely counter to how these organizations work. You can look at a lot of the content that I've produced, either written or through these videos over the course of the last several years. And a lot of times what I will get publicly, I should say public comments, is that, I'm naive, I don't know how large companies work, so on and so forth. But I think the real feedback, the genuine feedback, always comes privately. And that's fine. I'm in no way looking for, anybody to come out and basically say, Peter, we stand with you, and so on and so forth. I get the realities of these large organizations. But it really had me thinking, does anybody care about authenticity? Like having a genuine opinion, being honest with current situations, accepting that there are different points of view, challenging those points of view, having an honest debate. And this has been rattling around in my head, and it even to the point where I thought, do I jump on here? Do I talk about this? But I think it's important. I had actually come across an interesting sort of quote that said, authenticity is actually the currency of the future. Now, please don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to sit here breaking my arm, patting myself on the back. This is a genuine perspective that just really gnaws at me, because I do believe when it comes to the subject of China, that 95% of what you are encountering, they're not authentic perspectives. There are various tropes about China right now, and all of them, as we can, I think, agree upon, are predominantly negative. And this then galvanizes and calcifies even the perspective that, okay, well, this is what the point of view is, so we need to go with that point of view. We're not going to run against the consensus. We're just going to get on TV. We're going to, provide our quotes to the media, and we're going to stick to that script. This doesn't help anybody, and it genuinely doesn't help anybody if we're dealing with what I consider to be the most important issue of our time, and that is China as a geopolitical peer to the so-called rules-based order post-World War II. That's over. Or maybe it's not over, but it certainly is changing. And I think it's important to be able to recognize that and have conversations about it. But having an authentic conversation or providing authenticity in your perspectives, I don't know. I guess it's a bit of a ramble today, but I think you'll agree. This is what I try to do, at least. I encourage everybody, when they disagree with me, to come and have a conversation. I do find it interesting, and this will be sort of a final note here today, but I do find it really interesting that because my perspectives are pretty different from these consensus that I refer to, no one wants to engage with me. Trying to have a debate, trying to reach out to individuals. Let's talk about this. Let's go through these points of view. Let me try to highlight where I think the framing, if you will, around China is not wrong, as I like to say. I don't think the framing of China is necessarily wrong. I think it's vastly incomplete. And that's where I think discussions can really be had. But authenticity. If it doesn't jive with what the consensus is, it's probably risky to engage in that kind of conversation. But, it's great. We have YouTube. We have the ability to provide content on your own. You get one view, you get 1 million views. I'm doing it more for myself, as you probably can tell. But for now, I hope you all have a great day, and I'll be back later in the week.